Hello, welcome to Fibrowarrior, my new normal. I'm MJ Aragon, and I'm here today with my producers, JoJo Merrick.
Hey.
And Tony Jeffries.
Hi.
Today, I'm going to share, I tripped over a stone, Kim Johnson's blog about depression. I'm going to discuss my brief absence and why I didn't do anything last week. And then read my blog, which is actually in reference to that. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm having trouble turning this page.
You gotta lick your finger.
I don't like
My teachers always did that when I was young. They looked, I'd be like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, ew, I don't want
I didn't understand this like 15 years later, like, oh, that's what they were doing.
Right. But it just, at the time of being a kid, you're like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what?
Or did your mom ever, my mom, this is so off subject.
And wipe your face.
Yes!
Yeah.
I hated that.
All the time.
She'd lick her. I was like, ew.
Yep.
I don't want that.
Yeah, my mom did it all the time.
But that was something she did. I'm like, okay. All right. Oops, that's not what I want. So I was smart this time, and instead of trying to upload onto the internet, I've copied and pasted everything I'm going to be reading onto my notepad, so I don't have to do that anymore. So I don't have to be like, hey, Tony, can you do this? So her blog is called The Alice Cooper Lesson. I have never admitted to what I'm about to blog about. My time has come. My intent is not to shock you. My hope is that with my words there is someone who reads this that will know that they can get through today and tomorrow and the next. This is not about strength, it's about endurance. When you really feel like you have nothing left, please know that you do. It was shortly before I received my chronic illness diagnosis that I began trying to destroy myself. Drugs, alcohol, food, rock and roll, except I was not in a band. I was not famous. I didn't even have a job anymore. I didn't have a healthy support system. I didn't even like myself, let alone love myself. I had no sense of self, nor sense of self-respect left. I could not get better. I could not even define what ailment I was suffering with. All I knew was that I was now formally broken. My mind, mind, soul, and body. What was left for me? What could I possibly be good for? I will admit, I was either trying to sleep away the pain or out of my mind on medication. Alcohol came later, followed by food or lack of food. I simply wished not to exist. I felt I had run at the world and somehow I messed that up. I couldn't even die right, because if this was my life now, certainly I should have died in the car accident. One of the responding officers at the accident site told me if our car had stopped 3 seconds later, the Tahoe that crashed into us would have come through my door and I would have been killed. What the hell? Yep. 3 lousy seconds. 3. I was an embarrassment. So I planned my suicide. I'm not going to use pretty words. My then fiance was getting ready to take his daughter home after our weekend visit. I had planned the entire weekend. We had a great visit. We went out to eat. I had spent extra time with his daughter digging for clams on the beach. We watched funny movies. We all laughed a lot. I was covering my bases, making sure everyone would have good memories of me. As he was getting ready to leave with his daughter, the phone rang, and it was my mom. I thought, well, I still have plenty of time because it would take him close to 40 minutes to get her home and get back to our apartment. So I began chatting with my mom, happily I might add, as I wanted her to be at peace when my suicide was completed. This is how very irrational you are when the plan is made to commit suicide and only the deed is left to do. There's a lot of preparation. The previous week, I had made sure our apartment was very clean, the laundry was done, put away, and I had made a few extra meals for my fiancé so he'd have food for the week after I was dead. I planned where I would die to leave the least amount of mess, the bathtub. I even planned on calling 911 to report my suicide before I did it, making sure I remembered to hang up immediately. I was not getting talked out of my plan. I wanted the paramedics to get to me before my then fiancé returned home. I wanted to spare him from finding my body. I knew where a gun was and how to use it. I had showered the day I had planned on killing myself and put on makeup. I was so at peace and absolutely giddy that I was finally going to have some control. I was in control. When my then fiancé walked in the door, I was still happily chatting with my mom. I was just getting ready to hang up, making sure I told her I loved her. My mood drastically changed. I'd screwed up. My perfect plan was ruined. Why had I talked so long? I didn't feel like 40 minutes. It had been 40 minutes. My mother had literally unknowingly saved my life. I've never told her the story. My intentions are not to. She doesn't need this kind of memory. This is my memory. Almost my last memory. The pain I would have caused my loved ones shames me to this day. I am ashamed of these dark thoughts that overtook my common sense. So many consider suicide to be the easy way out, but to the person who contemplates it, it seems like the only way out. These irrational thoughts of suicide seem so rational, so unbelievably right. You must always fight. These are the tricks your mind plays on you when you are dealing with severe depression, pain, and chronic illness. That night was the first time I had contemplated and planned my suicide. It was not my last time of ever thinking about suicide. Never again did I allow myself to plan my suicide. I knew that if I began the planning process, the irrational feelings of it being right may take over. Suicide is never right. You do not get to choose life or death on any given day. I see the terminally ill choose not to go on. I understand that. But when you are not terminally ill, the decision is not yours to make. So I began the process of repairing my mind, body, and soul. I now know myself. I now have some respect of self and sense of self-worth. Has this life been worth living? Yes, yes, yes. The things I would have missed, the life I live now, the purpose I have found, the love I have been given. Yes, 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 1,000 times yes. Life is not fair and it is not easy. There are good times and bad times to be lived through. To be lived through. Life is all that it is because you are present in it and feel all the emotion that comes with it. Feel your life. Live your life. You will find purpose and you will love. That is what is right. And that is Kim Johnson. I tripped over a stone. And her blog is on WordPress, just like all my blogs. And so she was a little wary, of course, as I'm sure you'd understand, about sharing this because it's such a personal and desperate act. And you do feel shameful that you have these thoughts, but it's not something you can control. Having that mindset just happens, but you can control whether you take your life or not. And of course, like she said, someone who has chronic illness and they're ill and they're in pain to a point where they can't do anything. I completely understand. Like her, I can understand someone wanting to move on to go to the next, whatever they believe, But if you're still able to do things like I'm still able to do things, I'm not able to work to do the job I used to do, but I'm able to do this,
right.
And so as long as I have something to do and I'm still able-bodied to do these things, and I have this amazing man and my children and grandchildren, and family and my sister and my nephews and just, my brothers, my mom and dad, things have grown and become better in a lot of ways. Some things not so good, my relationship, my kids isn't 100%, we have the good times, it ebbs and flows. My oldest one I get along great, my youngest one I don't. And then my youngest one I get along great. It's never seems like anything's really smooth. Mm-hmm. But there's still always that reason. Like there's someone in your life. There has to be someone in your life. I mean that means something to you.
Right.
That you giving in like that.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be difficult for them. So sometimes we have to think about. It can be selfish. I understand, like I said, some people just, there's no way out and they do it because that's it. That's all that they have. They can't see past it. I know that happens and I understand that. I'm not faulting them for it. I'm not saying they're losers or nothing like that. I have nothing negative to say about them because they felt like that was their choice. But before you get to that point, reach out and ask for help, because taking that on all by yourself is where you get to that point. Because no one wants to listen, or you don't want to tell anyone, whatever the case may be. That's why someone actually chooses that ultimately, because they don't feel like anyone cares. And
right.
so if someone is that alone and they don't feel like anyone cares, it's much more easy for them to give in because they don't feel like there's any reason to stay. So
rest in peace, Chester Bennington.
Yes. And it happens too often, and you think about that, like this person seemed like they had a great life, right?
Yeah, that's the same thing I brought up the other day. It's like, man, you never know.
But you don't. Know. And I'll say this, and I'm sure that you probably realize this as well. That seems like the happiest people are the ones that deal with the most, and the reason that they seem the happiest because they know how tormenting it is, and they don't want put that on other people. And so when they see other people, they want to help. There's people that are dealing with this kind of thing, like myself.
They don't
want
to give it to other people.
They don't want to give it.
They don't want to. Yeah, they don't want them to feel that. Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And so, you know, no matter how wealthy or how many things you have, sometimes it's not everything. You know,
money's not everything.
It's absolutely
Fame's not everything.
It's absolutely not. There's still that missing. There's still something that was missing in them, and the reason that they felt like there was no reason to stay. And I'm sad for that, because I've been there. You know, I hate to admit it, but I've been there. I've been so close, you know, and I've pulled myself back, because I've been able to still have the mindset of like, I have to stay. I have a reason to stay. I have my children, my grandchildren, my man, my family. I have reason to stay, you know, and now I have purpose, you know, something that I have to. I feel like I'm accomplishing something instead of just living, you know, which before is pretty much what I was doing. I was just living. I'm just eating, drinking, breathing, you know. I felt terrible, you know, and because I didn't feel like I was contributing to anything, you know, and it was difficult to be someone who is so independent, and then now feel like I can't do anything. It was really hard. So having this to do has been really amazing for me. So
awesome sauce.
So on Thursday, I usually would post my blog, but I skipped it because I went to a funeral that day. It's my very best friend. Her father passed away, Lewis, and she's really, really close to her parents. So she already lost her mom, and now she's lost her dad. So, you know, I didn't want to miss out being there for her, because she's been there for me. Kelly Kennedy, she's on Kelly Kennedy Lane. She's my very best friend. She's been there for me through a lot of things, and we can talk about everything to each other and not feel like there's any judgment, you know, and it's not too many people that are like that, where you can just talk about anything. And she's been there for me so much, and there's absolutely no way I was not going to make it to this funeral to be there for her. So I ended up taking an Uber. But so I had the funeral on Thursday. Now this past Monday, which was just a few days after, is the 13th anniversary of my late husband, Michael Desi Aragon. We just called him Desi. And he passed away. He had a brain tumor, and he passed away in our home. And so from that whole week, it was just, I can't explain. I'm going to read the blog. It's the best way I can explain how I was feeling. But I was feeling very I had so much going on. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't write messages or answer. I just completely, pretty much ignored.
Had to disappear for a minute.
Yeah, I had to just step away, because I was overwhelmed, yet confused. 'Cause there was just so many things I was feeling, and I'm like, I was a little conflicted, you know. So I needed to take some time, and
as we all do and should.
Yes, absolutely.
It's absolutely necessary.
It is. Yes, and I'm gonna say this again. I say this a lot. Writing things down, so helpful. After I wrote this, I went from feeling so just kind of down and out, and just the confusion, just like how I felt about things, to feeling so much better the next day after I wrote this, because you get it off your chest, you know, you get to express yourself, and it's almost like someone just cut that whatever I was dealing with out of me and just like put it over here, you know, and like, here, I'll take care of that for you. I'll put it in a safe space, you know.
That weight.
Yeah.
That weight
absolutely.
just goes away, just light.
Absolutely. So, I can hear you guys. I can hear you guys. Hi. That's my producer and my honey. He's gonna be doing a little short vlog in a little bit too, so they're chatting back there. I'm gonna kick their butts later. Anyway, so and I'm leaving it in. So here's the blog. It's called I'm Remembering. This week has been a slow and melancholy one. Although my sadness is not at its peak as it once was, it still lingers, occasionally creeping up on me when least expected at times, and of course, on those dates that will always remind me of whom was lost, my late husband, Desi Aragon. Today I'm honoring loved ones, both here and gone. This past Thursday, I attended my best friend's father's funeral. I was determined to be there for her and was stressed over it for a few days, as she had been there for me when I've needed her. so I couldn't even fathom not being present for her on such a difficult day. My love had my car, so I took an Uber. Being as we live up in the mountains, I wasn't sure of how timely they would be, but fortunately he was nearby and the ride was comfortable. Crisis averted. I was anxious to see my darling friend, her son and husband, so on seeing her smile, it made me at ease. The ceremony was military style, and it was lovely to see the way in which they honored their fallen soldier. I took some video clips and pics to put together later for her as a keepsake. After all was said and done, everyone eventually met at their house. We all chatted a bit, watched a video dedicated to her sweet dad, some stories were told of him, and we even had a laugh here and there. It was a beautiful gathering, and she handled it all well, with such poise and grace. I love this sweet girl dearly, and I can't help but feel her loss. She was so close to her parents, and now she's lost them both. I can only imagine the emptiness she must feel. And his name is Louis L. Kennedy, and his funeral was on the 13th. This day had now brought up my feelings of loss. It was 13 years ago today, July 17th, that I lost my brave husband to a brain tumor. His loss still has an impact on me, even though much time has passed. I've not been in tears every day, mind you, but it's a deep, empty feeling, a vacancy of sorts, that I'm simply unable to fill. There are dates, pics, songs, scents that bring about this melancholy sensation, and it catches me off guard on occasion. I have a difficult time remembering things from the past, but then there are those moments where it all comes rushing back to me at once. But today, I can barely recall his voice, his laughter, his smile. It's like faint whispers in the dark. I will always remember what a wonderful man he was, to me and to my sons. He put us all first, and with him, I was the happiest I'd ever been at that point in my life. Great kids, great husband, great job, just complete and utter happiness for once in my tumultuous life. Only then, we found out he had a brain tumor just a week after our first anniversary. We tried everything to eradicate it, but it was aggressive and kept growing, despite surgery to remove a portion of it, plus the proton beam therapy for months afterwards. That following spring, I diligently planned a renewal of our vows for us, as our second anniversary was near, to show him how much I loved him. It was to be a surprise, and I invited all of our family and closest friends. Unfortunately, 2 people ruined the surprise, and when he asked me about it, I was in tears. All of that hard work. But he just looked at me with a sweet smile and said, "Oh, baby, that's okay. We'll just make it bigger and better. I love you so much." As he wrapped me in his arms, just a few days later, our house and backyard were filled with our loved ones. It was a beautiful ceremony, with an abundance of pictures and video taken of the occasion. It was a perfect day. 3 months later, he passed quietly away at our home, in our bed. The day before, as many have depicted of their own loved ones, he had a good day. He was up and about, as though nothing was wrong, and we had a truly beautiful day together. He told me how much he loved me, how it was the best thing that ever happened to him, and how I am his one and only love of his life. This is a moment I will always remember. The day he passed is one I shall not depict, as it was the most difficult of our lives. After some weeks had passed, I sent in the vow renewal video with which my dear brother recorded for me, to be made into several DVDs to give our families. I had not watched the video before this time, and was now a month after his passing, that they arrived. Once I received them, I immediately sat down to watch. It was endearing and lovely to see everyone happy, smiling, laughing. At the end, there was something more. My brother had recorded a message from Desi that day. I felt so overwhelmed by his love while I watched him talk to me from what felt like the beyond. It was an unexpected gift that I will cherish always. Desi and I, we were married on April 4th, 2002, and then we had our renewals that following year. It's now 13 years later. I find it difficult to describe my emotions this past weekend. Even today, I miss him. I feel the ache of his loss, wishing his life had not been cut so short. Yet I'm not crying. I can only imagine it is because I'm healing a little more each year. He was so insistent that I should be happy and to move on after he was gone. In fact, he demanded it. But I fell apart. So moving on was slow and messy for a while. And my sons had the toughest time because I was often unaccountable, as depression sunk its ugly claws into me so deeply. Thankfully, they had their dad, my first husband, to keep them together while I tried to find my way back into the sunlight. That dark cloud had diminished while Desi was in my life, only it returned even more fierce than ever after his passing. I slowly found my way back to being somewhat whole again, and I can say that I am happy for the most part these days, because I have been fortunate enough to have a good man in my life once again. To find real love once is difficult in and of itself, but here he is, my love Bill. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Desi had sent him my way. I feel appreciated, safe, respected, and truly loved once more. I hardly feel I deserve to be happy at times, thinking that I'm a bad person for having any happiness. I had put these thoughts into my head for so long, it was hard to break free of that mindset. It took a long time for me to see my worth. I had to see it through someone else's eyes, Desi first, and now again with Bill. He has been through it all with me, all of my thoughts put to words, for him to leave me, that he deserves more than I can give, and that I'm broken, and how I love him enough to let him go. But he stayed. He stayed with me because he truly loves me. He even gave up having children of his own by being with me. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Through all of our tough times, his, mine, ours, we are still together, stronger, in love, still holding hands and cuddling as if it was our first year instead of halfway through our 10th. So this is why I'm calm. Although there will always be that void left in me, I'm no longer full of tears and sorrow. Instead, I'm remembering. I'm remembering the joy he, Desi, brought into my life, how intelligent he was and so loving, the way he helped me become a better person by showing me how to believe in myself and thus allowing me to recognize a good man, Bill, while he was standing right in front of me. All because Desi revealed how a real man should treat the one he loves. So today, I celebrate him, thank him, and honor him for all that he was in life. And I'm so proud to say that I have a man in my life now that allows me these moments without feeling that honoring Desi is in any way lessening my love for him. I am a lucky woman, of this I am sure. Despite my illness and all that I've endured, I recognize my gifts. Bill and I have been together since December 26, 2006. This is to my baby. Bill, you are an amazing man, my sweet, loving man. And I'm so proud to have you in my life, by my side, while we gracefully grow old together. I love you more than you can possibly imagine. And in loving memory of my husband, my late husband, Michael Desi Aragon, and my best friend, Kelly Kennedy Lane's father, Louis L. Kennedy, forever in our hearts and always in our thoughts. And also, on a lighter note, it so happened that my sister, she's been trying to have a kid for a long time, and she finally got pregnant, and she had a son 2 years ago, and he was born on the day that Desi passed. I was a little conflicted with it at first because it was such a dark day for me, but now I have light. There's light on this day. So I'm also celebrating the life of my handsome little nephew. He's so freaking adorable. LJ. He turned 2 years old today. I love you, little man. So that was my blog. And so all of that stuff that was building up with me that whole weekend, once I wrote that down, it was amazing the next day at how relieved I felt. I truly felt like I had this heavy metal jacket on, and then the next day I took it off, and I felt better. I felt a little happy. And and I still have that guilt, being happy because, I lost someone amazing and special, and here I am still living life, and there was many, many times when I wished that it was me instead of him. I hate to say it, but, because he had so much to offer. And, but, I know that having children, it was meant for me to still be here, but, there were times when I just he deserved to be here. I don't deserve to be here, because I felt, this was back when I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew something was wrong with me, but I didn't know what. I couldn't talk to people about it. So I was holding on to so much, and not being able to share it with anyone or understand it was really tough for me. So there was a lot of times where I was just he should have been here, not me, So I still have that little bit of guilt. I'm here. I'm still here, and he's not. I don't know if that'll ever really go away. but I am happy, and I can't feel guilt. I got to stop feeling guilty for being happy, and I don't know how to do that. I hopefully will someday will be able to grow past that, but I still have those moments, you know. Where
that's a lesson I'm learning too.
Yeah.
It's that whole. You saw my post on Facebook about a week ago. Love yourself more. You deserve it.
Yes.
I'm such a giving person, and I want to do so much for other people that it's weird to put myself first, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because if you're not the best you can't help anybody.
No, and that's something that you don't realize. Sometimes
you don't realize it.
You hear so much, don't be selfish, you
Yeah,
know. So then you're trying so hard not to be selfish that you forget about who you are and taking care of you.
Right.
And I actually,
when that's really you're doing the worst for everybody, because you're
I'd
not the
actually
best
posted that same thing like a day or two before you posted that, and I was like, I just posted that. It was like saying love yourself, you know, because I'd say that every once in a while. You have to remember, we have to remember, especially when you're not well, like you have to take care of yourself. And you know, and I think it's so adorable. Like Kim and a couple other people will reiterate something that I say, like the airbag, the airplane, you know, taking your oxygen mask, you know, take care of yourself first. And
Oh, yeah,
I've had
yeah,
a couple people like remind me of like, remember, and like, I love that, because it shows me that they're, not only are they reading it, but that they care, and that, you know, it meant something to them, that they remembered that, you know. So I've had a few people repeat things back to me, and, you know, it kind of warms my heart, you know, because I'm like, oh, you know, thank you.
Right.
But,
That's very important.
You really, really do, because if you're not 100%
You
or
can't be
nearly
100% for anybody else.
you're gonna half-ass everything
Right.
else, seriously.
Yep.
And so it's extremely important. It's extremely important for you to make sure that you're good. Now, on those days, because this is depression and loss and all those, it's important that I stress to you that if you are feeling dark, if you are feeling like you want to take your life, please, please, please reach out to somebody. Once again, you can reach out to us if you just want someone to talk to, but if you really, really feel like you need to be talked down from the ledge, basically, please call. I will once again post the suicide hotline, and reach out. You know, I know people are fearful of doing that. Like, it's going on record because you're calling somebody. If that's something you're concerned with, you know, I'm a night owl. I'm up all night. If it's in the middle of the night and you're stressed out and you don't know what to do and you're feeling lost, call me, you know. But if you can't get a hold of me, get a hold of somebody. It's important, because, you know, there's got to be someone in your life that would affect in such a huge, large, I was trying to say two words, in such a way, and the impact that your loss will have on them. We have to remember that. We have to think about that as well, and know that there's people that love you, you know. And even though I don't know you, a lot of my followers I've never actually met. We've only talked and messaged, you know. But I still love you. You're still dealing with something that I'm dealing with. I understand you. I understand the torture and the pain and the fear and the wanting to just end it all sometimes, and also the want to like help everybody and be the person that you used to be, you know, missing that inner self. There's all these things I know that are going through your head and you're struggling with. I struggle with those things too. Please reach out. Please don't let it take over. You know, there's still life to live. There's possibilities. You know, we may find a cure someday, or at least something that helps us better. You know, I mean, yeah, right now there's Band-Aids and such, and that's kind of, it can be disappointing because it's hit and miss, and we're going through all these things. But, you know, through all that, there's still good. There's still good in life. There's still things that can make you happy. There's still something that can happen that's around the corner that you'll go, man, I'm so happy I'm still here. I wouldn't have met you, or I wouldn't have had you as my friend, or I wouldn't have gotten to see my daughter or my nephew, or my, you know, a baby born, or somebody getting married. There's so many things that happen throughout life, these big, huge, loving moments that you might miss out on. And so we have to think about, when we're in those moments, think about that. Think about the things that you're going to miss out, and how much people are going to miss you, and the things that you could possibly accomplish someday when you get things figured out, because life is still worth living. It really is. And I'm telling you this from a person who's been there, like at the darkest hour, you know, just like Kim. You know, life, I'm glad I'm still here. I'm happy I'm still here. You know, I still struggle, and I just have to remind myself, you know, of my granddaughters, my sons, and my family, you know. And Bill, he's amazing. He's amazing. And he struggles with depression sometimes too, you know, not to the extent that I do, but so he gets it. He understands how sometimes I'm not feeling good, just I don't really feel like talking, just be there for me, just hold my hand. We cuddle and hold each other's hands a lot. He's very, very supportive, and I'm so extremely thankful for that. But if you don't have somebody that can be right there for you, or you don't feel like you can talk to anybody, you can talk to me. I understand. So please reach out. You can message me privately on my personal page, on our FibroWarrior-My New Normal page. We have an email, all those things I post every week. So please reach out to somebody. That's all I ask. I stress that. Please don't think that you're alone in this. You're not. There's someone there for you. There's always someone. I will always be here. Okay? All right. I guess that's it. Our time's up, right? All right. Aside from the little talkity talk there earlier, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope it wasn't too down and out. I try to keep them positive, but every once in a while we got to talk about the tough stuff. So it's important. I can't just skip over that. So I do bring up depression more often than not, because it's something that we all struggle with, and that's the number one thing that ends our lives is because of depression. Chronic illness, you're dealing with all those things, but when you get depressed, the pain and the depression together, people just can't take it anymore. So it's important that I remind people of this. So as always, I love you guys. You're not alone. I love y'all. I love y'all. Bye. Yeah, but I've seen people who can do both. I'm kind of left and right. I have both. I'm ambidextrous as well. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Are you really? You're ambidextrous?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I haven't worked. I can probably do everything.
Can you paint with both hands?
Actually, yeah. I paint with both hands.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's when I realized I could, because I'm really good with my left hand as my right.
Right.
Because I didn't really pay attention to how many things I did with my left hand. And then after that, I started realizing I do. In fact, when people say, cross your arms, I don't have a go-to.
You can't have a relaxing position to cross your arms.
Everybody has a go-to.
the right. Is it the dominant hand is over top?
I don't have a go-to. I do.
Is it comfortable both ways?
Yeah, that's why I said.
Because that's really weird. I never thought about this. It's very uncomfortable.
It's the same. It feels the same to me.
I'm right-handed, so that's super uncomfortable to me.
That's my point. It doesn't either way feels comfortable. Crossing either leg, I don't have a choice.
Right.
I don't have a particular thing that I like to do, so yeah.
I want to see you write with both hands. I don't know if I've ever met an ambidextrous person. I think it was one kid.